Hey everybody, how's it going? This video is on bases. Now, firstly, if you're going to be using plastic card like I am for your basing material, primarily, like because I'm doing it for my Angels of Fury, and this guy's not done yet because his base isn't painted or anything, but if you're going to do an army where you like a certain texture of plastic card, which is, they have a variety of textures out there now, you can use that as the base for your base. Meaning you're going to put bits of stuff on top of that to make it look like Space Hulk or spaceship themed, or maybe facility themed, or brick road or sidewalk themed with like broken pieces of building on it or whatever. Whatever it is, with circle bases and plastic card, you need a way to cut it into a circle in a nice way if you're going to do a full circle. Even if you're going to do parts of a circle, it's nice to have it pretty clean on the edges. So, with that in mind, I picked up this on a whim. It's a circle cutter. It's one of the smaller circle cutters out there. The center part's got a nice pad that you push down on that to make friction with or not friction. I guess it's friction. It holds it in place while you spin and you cut it. The center part's what cuts it. You adjust the size of it. You hold down the center thing and you spin it, and it cuts. And it does a good job. It makes small circles and pretty big circles. However, the circles aren't small enough for 25 or 28 millimeter bases, whatever a Space Marine base is, or things like it. So when I did a video, I said it doesn't do that. If anybody has any suggestions on what could do that, let me know. And somebody suggested a compass cutter, which is what this thing is. This is from X-Acto. And I don't know if they all are the same looking. I imagine they're pretty similar. This is from X-Acto. It comes with extra blades and actually also lead for like pencil lead to draw circles. And pretty much you adjust the size, and this size I have it set at right now, this setting, works really well for cutting circle bases the size of Space Marine power armor bases, which is what, 25, 28 millimeter. I keep forgetting. It works really well for that. I can make it even smaller if you really wanted to, but I pretty much keep it at that setting. That's all I'm going to use it for. However, I just have a little pin you saw where it sticks into the plastic card or whatever you're cutting to keep it secure, so it doesn't skip around, and you make a nice circle without, pretty much a nice even circle. It doesn't cut overlapping each other, if that makes any sense. So pretty much you get something like this. You get a circle, obviously. Focus, there we go. Now as you see in the center, there's a little pinprick hole. Or a little pinhole, not a pinprick hole. That shouldn't be a problem for me. That remains to be seen, of course. I gotta glue it down and paint it. But I don't foresee it sticking out like a sore thumb or anything. But if that may be a problem for you, it does come with its own little pad thing here. Now, I haven't gotten it to work with the compass cutter, although I haven't had much practice. I imagine I could get it to work with some time. But that may be something to consider, or look into one that comes with a better pad thing than this one does. But it works, and that's great. So I suggest one or both, depending on what you're going to do. The reason I suggest both really is this one is more fine tuning. You get to undo this and constantly swing it back and forth. Wouldn't be that big of a deal if you marked exactly where you want it to be, or you just memorize it, that we can make it larger, smaller, whatever. But I'm pretty much going to keep it just at this setting. If I ever want to do a bigger base, I got this thing right here. Now, to finish up, I want to talk quickly on reusing old bases. This base is a base I used from something like this. Not one of these two actually, but same concept. Some flock, some cider grass bases. Because when I started doing bases, I did bases in a very general way, a very battlefield general way, with some grass patches and dirt, desert grassland, whatever you want to call it. That's what I did. and since then wanted to do different style bass. I'm a big fan of doing urban rebel style things like that. So this bass is actually for pre-heresy Deathwing, but it's also a test to see how well it works to do for post-heresy Dark Angels and whatnot. So for this size bass, we post-heresy Deathwing, but and it worked very well. Now I use spackling paste, which I've talked about in other videos. It's a small little tub of spackling paste. I recommend it. It worked really well. I took a plastic butter knife and I slathered it on, scooped it out, and spread it across the base. And I stuck in some sprues, a circle, pipe thing here that was a plastic card circle, straw type of thing. A sprue here, and then the small slate pieces that came in the 40K basing kit. And I let it dry, and then once the spackling paste was fully dry, I added some Zap-A-Gap, some super glue, to the tubing, the plastic card tube you saw in there, just to better adhere, because that didn't adhere too well into the spackling paste. But you do a couple of drops on that, and anything else you may have added that's like plastic card or big plastic bits, just to further secure it down, and then you paint over it. As I'm doing, it's still a work in progress, it's not done, and you got your bass. Reason I show you this is, over time you may want to redo your army, like I'm doing with my Dark Angels, and I'm going to talk more on that later in another video. But in redoing stuff, you want to redo the bases. And resin bases are nice, but they're expensive in comparison. They only come in a predetermined amount of styles. After that, it's going to be redundant, which isn't that big of a deal, but especially if you're only going to have like 5 Terminators, let's say. But it could become a problem for your smaller bases. So being able to reuse an old base, break the model off of it, touch up the model if necessary. You break off the model, and then you slather on some spackling paste, or wood filler putty, or whatever you may have that's similar to what those things do. And then you put on some flocking material, some bits, whatever, paint it up, and you got a nice looking bass. Like, this bass, once painted up, should look pretty nice. It's pretty much halfway there. So just thought I'd share that at the end of this video, because we're talking about bass and cutting circles for your bases. If you're not going to be using plastic card, if you're going to be using bases like this, even if it's a new base, I suggest the spackling paste. But the spackling paste is thick enough and works well enough, and even adheres to the flock already on there and whatnot. So I would recommend looking into that if you got bases that you want to use, but you want to make them look different. You want more definition to it or whatever, if that makes any sense. Anyway, that's enough for that ramble. Hope that was semi-interesting. And until next time, take it easy.